As much as we may not want it to be, it is January 31st, and that means it's time for a monthly update. Welcome back. My name's Ben Price. Thank you so much for joining me for another monthly update. This one is for January 2024. We've come to the end of the first month of the year, and in my books, I have to say, big success. So let's recap some of the things that went on this month, shall we? No surprise here, I was on a ship for most of the month, January 2nd until the 28th. I was on the Virgin Scarlet Lady. I just got home and I started my 3 weeks at home 2 days ago on the 28th. So that was really nice. It was a great contract. I did a lot of shows, a lot of fill-in shows, because one of the main pieces of entertainment on board, there was a lot of injuries in that cast. Unfortunately, that means the sailors can't see it, and it's quite disappointing in my eyes, because it's one of the best shows. It's the circus show on board, and the athletes and the performers in the show are incredibly talented, and it's very cool to watch. But with being a circus style show, there are injuries that happen, and sometimes that means they just can't perform. But I was happy to help out when I could, to fill in for them so they could heal up properly and get back to performing and doing what they love as soon as possible. But on the Scarlet Lady for the month, it was a great contract as always, and I can't wait to get back.
This is hands down one of the best magicians I have ever seen. If you don't know this man, you need to know this man right here.
The word Christine with the words. Are you ready for this, Christine?
Ready? No!
No?
No, it's not.
But the rest was really cool! Round of applause, thank you so much. Final word is Spider-Man, yeah?
Don't do it!
Spider-Man, unleash mystery! While I was on the ship for the month, I had some downtime, as I always do, and I started working on a new show. I want to replace one of my shows that I now take to the ships. It's what I consider my show B. I'd like to replace that show with something new and fresh, move my Manor show into my show B position, and have a completely new show A. So I started working on that while I was on the ship, getting some ideas and talking to some of my friends and colleagues to see if they had anything that would be of interest to me. I've started writing now, and hopefully by March I'll be ready to start practicing and putting that the new show into the rotation. So we have that to look forward to. My mom sent me a picture not too long ago of the paper from my hometown, and I was in a nice article there. I did an interview not long ago when I was in Lethbridge for a show. It was a corporate event, and the newspaper found out that I was going to be a part of that event because the event advertised in the paper. They got in touch with me, they did an interview, and they never did anything with it. This month, however, they must have had a slow news day, and they decided to pop that story in there. So it was kind of cool to see the interview published and spread the word. I got a few contacts as a result of the article, so that's nice. So in December, I might be doing a few more corporate events in Lethbridge just as a result of that article, which would be nice. I always love doing shows at home around the holidays because I get to visit my family and get paid to do it, that's the dream, isn't it? If you follow me on social media or know me personally, you know that I fly a lot. I have to get from Calgary to the ships and from the ships back to Calgary to get home. As a result of that, I'm on planes a lot of the time. I was on Air Canada coming home, and they were delayed from Miami to Toronto. So I was delayed about an hour and 45 minutes. When I got to Toronto, I had to get through customs and get to my flight, which I was now set to miss. I should have missed the flight, but they were also delayed. Classic Air Canada. So I ran from one side of Toronto International Airport to the other to catch my flight, thinking that this was going to be for naught. I was going to miss it. I made it, again because they were delayed. I got on board and I was having an asthma attack. I have really bad asthma. It's physical activity, it aggravates it. I got to the plane, couldn't breathe, I was coughing really bad, my chest was on fire from the running because I didn't stop nonstop, and I had my luggage with me and my backpack on, so I was carrying a lot of this weight. I asked the flight attendant for a glass of water. If I could just have a small glass of water. I know in business class, they also have bottles they hand out to those people when they sit down. Could I have one of those? I know that they pay for that seat and the privilege of having that tiny bottle of water, Air Canada, but I was in a bit of distress. The flight attendant looked at me and laughed in my face and said, after takeoff, and then sent me on my way. So I sat down, coughed my lungs out, and never did get that bottle of water. So Air Canada, thanks so much for letting me fly 4 hours from Toronto to Calgary having an asthma attack. Had my inhalers and everything. Obviously I made it and I'm fine, but I could have had a more comfortable flight had your flight attendants had a bit more compassion for the people flying on your terrible, terrible airline. So my recommendation is if you ever have to get around and are flying from Canada or somewhere that Air Canada flies, choose any other airline. Any other airline would be better than Air Canada. That's my PSA for you all today. Last year when I did my first contract on the Scarlet Lady, I met a lot of cool people in the Happenings cast, and a lot of those people became really close friends that I stay in touch with, or I stayed in touch with in between my very first contract on the Scarlet Lady and this contract. So there was a lot of people that I got really close with, made some good connections with, and sadly, this last contract I was on was their last contract as well, or their last bit of their contract. They're on for 7 months, so I was there when they were first there. They had 5 or 6 months in between, and then I went back for one of their last months. So we said goodbye the first time knowing that we'd see each other again. This time though was a little more emotional because I won't see a lot of them again until their next contract. That could be soon, it could be further down the road, but it was sad to say goodbye to some old friends, all these people that I would have daily conversations with or pass in the hallway. They work a lot, so it wasn't often that we get to sit down and chat, but it was nice to have them and have them accept me as one of their gang on board. So we said goodbye, and I will miss them a lot. They're one of the few casts that I've actually had really close personal relationships with. Hopefully some of them will visit. I hope to visit some of them, and I wish them luck on their next endeavors. But it was a sad time to say goodbye to all those people when I left the Scarlet Lady on the 28th. I think that about wraps up January. It seemed like a pretty crazy, hectic month, but all told, it was probably a pretty relaxing month, actually. I spent a lot of it on a ship, and when I'm on the ships, I'm just performing and working on shows, as I mentioned previously. So it was a nice month. We did a lot of shows. We started off the year in the right way. Can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds for us, and if you want to find out, stay tuned to these monthly updates. Thanks so much for following along, and we'll see you in February.